Well, it's official. It's been 0 days since an Overwatch pro was exposed as liking minors. Imagine being a 15-year-old girl and receiving this message in your Discord DMs. Okay, I've come. From a dude in his 20s. Who the hell is this guy? The man who couldn't resist messaging a minor is none other than Neuuish, an Australian Overwatch 2 pro player. And this is a story that has been going on for years now, with the first accusation going up against him being in December of 2023. Him messaging a minor is only one part of the story. A story that we got to know thanks to Valsi, one of his exes. She posted a document outlining how he was cheating on her with a minor, but also multiple other women at the same time. The guy was just an uncontrollable freak. But he was also a freak who called some of the biggest Overwatch 2 content creators his friends and was able to build a career thanks to him streaming with them. So this wasn't just his mess, everyone got dragged into this, and it shook the Overwatch 2 community to its core. Look, some people say that just playing Overwatch on a pro level raises your chances of messaging a minor. I'm more concerned with the fact that someone as crazy as 2Mad decided to overdose on drugs, probably because of Overwatch 2. But anyway, what the hell happened here? And how did Neuuish get away with messaging a minor for so long? Well, let's talk about it. So as I mentioned, Xander New DeWitt was born in Australia and is an Overwatch 2 pro player. He wasn't an Overwatch League player though, Overwatch's highest competitive level. He was in the Overwatch Contenders, where a bunch of teams compete in order to reach Overwatch League one day. Now this system was recently changed, with Contenders merging with Overwatch League, but Contenders is where Neuuish and his teammates competed in the most. His team, MFC, that stands for Hatsune Miku Fan Club, was okay, it wasn't anything special. What he was truly known for was his performance solo queuing or queuing with friends in Overwatch's competitive game mode. You see, Neuuish was a hitscan player, which meant he played characters that required good aim, and he was really good at it. He was ranked number 1 specifically for the character Ashe. And one of the main appeals of his stream was seeing these crazy trick shots that truly displayed skill. These days though, as a streamer, skill isn't really enough to grow. What really put him on the map and allowed him to start streaming as a career was the fact that he had befriended some of the biggest Overwatch content creators, people who have been playing since the beginning of Overwatch 1, and streamed with them. Frogger is a great example, being a household name in Overwatch and making content on the game since, well, forever. They used to practice and play together quite a bit. Another content creator would be Aspen, someone who also has been creating content for Overwatch since forever ago, and this really helped Neuuish put himself on the map, garnering over 40,000 followers on Twitch and getting hundreds of concurrent viewers while he streamed. He was slowly but surely gaining an important foothold in the content creation community for Overwatch, and objectively speaking, the sky was the limit for him. Or so it seemed, because eventually, Neuuish would discover that his actions would have dire consequences to his career. Actually, did they really? On December 2023, someone made a post on the subreddit Overwatch TMZ with the title New/Neuish, pedophilia, cheating, etc. This post has since then been deleted, but it was written by a friend of one of his exes, alleging that he had horribly mistreated his ex and that he was at the same time in a relationship with a minor. This definitely made rounds in the community, but at the same time, it didn't really have enough proof. And when you make such massive accusations without any proof, people won't blindly believe you anymore. This allowed Neuuish to completely deflect these accusations to his friends and the people he knew. This meant that when it came to his pro team and his content creator friends, his reputation remained intact. But this didn't mean that his broader reputation remained unharmed. Just like any content creator, he already had people who disliked him for other reasons, like how he would brag about refunding DoorDash orders even after receiving them. But now they actually had a reason to hate him and try to ruin his career. Unfortunately for them though, his career was completely fine because there was no proof. But then something really weird happened almost a year later. Nico GDH is a retired French Overwatch League pro player. He played at the highest level, and he was even known to be the first Overwatch League pro to ever play with a left-handed mouse. At some point, he grew tired of Twitter, and he deleted his account. What happened next is exactly why some content creators don't delete their accounts even if they're inactive on Twitter. On October 19th, 2024, someone would create an account with the same username that Nico used to use, and then would proceed to post some of the most horrendous allegations against many popular personalities in the Overwatch pro scene. This of course was like a nuclear bomb, especially for the subreddit Overwatch TMZ, and some examples of what was tweeted were things like, oh, this pro player, he slept with one of the Overwatch League managers. Oh, this Overwatch League personality, he jerks it to photos of minors. I mean, they're absolutely horrendous allegations, and a lot of people didn't really take them seriously, but there was one in particular that was very interesting. It said, newsflash, just heard Neuuish is a pedo online and a cheater on IRL girlfriend. This was of course lost in an ocean of horrendous allegations, but it got some people thinking back on the initial thread that was made in December 2023. But they again were powerless because there wasn't enough proof to actually go after him until March 6th, 2025, when the Twitter user Volsi would post, I was in a relationship with Neuuish, trigger warning, abuse, grooming, and sexual content, linking a Google Doc. It starts off saying, this document was not made with the intent to harass or incite harm to this person, but to purely spread awareness. For those who do not know me, I'm an Australian player called Volsi, and I used to go by Grim. In this document, I will be sharing information about a player named Neuuish, Xander. During this document, I will have clickable links. So this is going to be the proof that was severely lacking back in December of 2023. Then she outlines the backstory, saying, the grooming and abuse transpires between 2021 to August 2022 when we officially broke up. We did keep in contact on and off for a little bit after that, mainly because there were unresolved issues and things left unsaid, and also because I was holding his secret and was afraid of what could happen if I said something public. I moved out in October as it took a while to find a new apartment. I met Neuuish in February 2021 through a mutual friend. We started dating in 2021. I honestly don't remember the month/day we officially started dating because there were so many on and off moments, but I had moved in with him a few months after we started dating as one of his roommates was moving out, so there was a spare bedroom. This means we both had a separate room with a bed and a setup, but his bedroom was the main room we used. So, first things first, before anything major happens, I think we can already tell this relationship moved way too quickly. Within just a few months of knowing each other, they moved in to live together. So Volsi essentially had no idea who she was moving in with. She continues, during our relationship, I eventually discovered that he was cheating on me with multiple girls. The most alarming one was housewife due to her age. She was 16, he was 20. Whenever I confronted him, he would gaslight and manipulate me into thinking everything was fine and that I was just imagining things. This took a serious toll on my mental state. He would call me insecure, belittle me, and accuse me of always overreacting, making me feel like I was the problem, and would find ways to make me believe that I was wrong and that they were just rumors. His constant manipulation made me question myself, and in the end, I became too scared to leave. She then adds a final paragraph in this section saying, this is to explain my mental state at the time due to his actions. Manipulation makes it hard to leave a relationship because it messes with your head. Gaslighting makes you question yourself, so you start thinking maybe you're the problem. When someone constantly puts you down or makes you feel like no one else will care about you, you start to believe it. And if they threaten you or make you scared of what will happen if you leave, staying feels like the only option. This is when we head into the next section titled Grooming, Predatory Actions. Housewife was 16 when I was dating Neuuish, but before I was in the picture, they had been talking since she was 15. He was 20 years old when I was dating him in 2021, and I was 18/19. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this document isn't really chronological, so it might get confusing sometimes. Here she links an image of a text conversation she had with him through iMessage in December 2023 when the Reddit post was made, and it proves that he knew that Housewife was 15 when they first started dating, acknowledging it. And as a reminder, Neuuish and Volsi had broken up in 2022, so this conversation took place after the breakup. For now, here's the screenshot. It's him saying, I did a lot of horrible stuff and for what? I never thought you'd be the person to tell people. I don't blame you, but it's just so dumb. I only brought this up because a longtime chatter of mine donated 5 subs and said, I know what you've done. Volsi then says, no one knows to the extent of it other than me, emphasizing the fact that no one really knows how bad things were between him and Housewife other than her. And then Neuuish says, people know she was 15, so he's acknowledging the fact that he started talking to her when she was only 15. Volsi would then continue in her document saying, upon realizing that I now knew his secret, he would get angry with me and tell me that he had to continue talking to her and doing anything she wanted so she didn't expose him. I will link a bunch of screenshots here for proof of his relationship with Housewife. There are 9 different screenshots linked here. The first screenshot is Volsi asking Neuuish, you didn't tell her you played Overwatch 2, right? You gonna call that controlling when it literally puts your ass and blank's career on the line? To which Neuuish responded, Bitch, she doesn't even leak the pedo shit. Why would she leak 2 changes? I didn't tell her who I played it from or on or who or whatever. Now, it's not really clear what they were talking about. They were clearly talking about Housewife, but I guess it's meant to illustrate how Neuuish would react whenever Volsi would bring her up, calling her a bitch. This right here is a Snapchat conversation between Housewife and Neuuish. Housewife starts it off saying, actions speak louder than words, and I don't think nor know if I am or ever was really valued and appreciated by you, and that's upsetting. I'm barely started writing and my mind is already just everywhere, I guess. And then Neuuish says, you have this completely wrong. I would leave her in a heartbeat for you, but you don't see me like that. And just in case it wasn't clear, her in this situation means Volsi. So Neuuish was telling Housewife, a minor, that he would leave his girlfriend that he's living with in a heartbeat for her. Incredible, honestly. And then he said, I didn't lie about my feelings last night. He then links a Discord conversation with Housewife showing that he can't message her anymore, thinking that she blocked him. So he said, okay, I can't. And then Housewife said, I didn't block you. Your privacy is set that way. And then Neuuish said, it does the same shit, okay? whatever that means. So essentially, we have a conversation of a 20-year-old telling a 16-year-old that if she told him to break up with his current girlfriend that he's living with, he would do it in a heartbeat. That's the person that we're dealing with here, okay? In the next screenshot, Volsi is seen here with her old name, which used to be Grimnir, telling Neuuish, you drop everything for her being Housewife. And Neuuish says, no, keep assuming, what is the actual issue? To which Volsi replies with, and when it comes to like stopping talking to her, it's, I don't know how to leave, I just can't leave. And then Neuuish says, you are so dumb. You know exactly why I'm trying to be on good terms with her. Now shut the fuck up and stop repeating the same shit every week. I'm fucking sick of it. Keep crying, keep getting upset. I don't care since it's just crocodile tears. If you actually cared about me and weren't being selfish, you would understand why I have to do this. Grow the fuck up. Volsi was clearly frustrated with the fact that Neuuish would prioritize the minor so much. And whenever she'd voice her concern, he would tell her that the only reason he has to keep talking to her and pleasing her was so that she doesn't expose him. The next image is very typical like e-girl, e-boy Discord drama. It's okay if you roll your eyes, but it's Volsi being very frustrated and confused over the fact that Neuuish had matching profile pictures with Housewife, right? Something that typically Discord couples do. Now, it's not in the messages, but Volsi says that when she confronted him about it, Neuuish said that he was being threatened by Housewife and was forced to have matching profile pictures with her, okay? Yeah, I know. Let's just get to the next image. This right here is a conversation between Neuuish and Housewife in which he admits that he loves her. But Housewife is confused because Neuish's ex was saying something different, that they were still together. That's probably because he was quote-unquote dating multiple women at the same time, but regardless, here he was admitting to a minor that he loves her, okay? This is to emphasize, I think, the fact that Housewife is a victim here as well. And make no mistake, she is. In the next image, we can see Neuuish sending messages to Volsi about Housewife saying, this bitch was going to leak to the world and get my entire life cancelled. Do you not think I would try? So again, he's using the same excuse he used all the time, which is the fact that he has to stay in contact with Housewife, otherwise she'll ruin his life. And he even called her a bitch when a couple of images ago we saw that he told her that he loved her and that he would drop everything for her, right? For this next image, you need context. Lusty used to be an Overwatch player from what I understand, and at some point was going to talk to Housewife to check that she was alright, that Neuuish wasn't being a predator. So here Neuuish was telling Volsi, yeah, thank you, like Lusty wants to talk to Housewife and check with her if I'm a pedo, but Housewife is tight-lipped as fuck. Volsi says, oh, and then Neuuish says, and she will hard defend me. It's not every day you see someone in his 20s flexing the fact that a minor he's with will defend him, but here we are. In this next image, Neuuish is saying, I know what you were saying, she might have dirt, but literally nothing compared to the person I'm actually scared about. She's like some NPC level 3 goblin compared to the level 99 raid boss, Blank, which is Housewife's real name. So he was really pushing the narrative to Volsi that he was forced to talk to her, otherwise she would expose him to the world. And the final image in this section is Volsi saying, you did a chain of folders that led to videos and photos of Housewife showering, etc. That's deleted now? Question mark. Then Neuuish said, huh? Question mark. And Volsi said, don't me, you know what I'm talking about. Just as a reminder, if you have videos or any explicit material of someone under the age of 18, that's a felony. But this one's a bit trickier because even if Volsi had proof, she can't post it, otherwise she'll be in jail. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt. Anyway, here's the next section of this document, titled Abuse, Coercion, Verbal, physical. Anything physical would mostly occur when he was trying to take my phone off me, as I had a private Discord server with myself where I would vent. It seemed like a game to him, and it aroused him, wrestling with me to get my phone, or when I was in his room and he did not want me to see what he was doing. In relation to I tried to take a shower, I went into the room to shower, and I assumed he was doing something he did not want me to see. As I walked into the doorway of the bathroom, he pulled my neck fast and yelled at me to get out. He would forcibly remove me from the room by shoving me out, yelling at me, and carrying me out. One time I was flailing, which caused him to drop me and I hurt my back. Coercion and psychological, he had taken me to the room at 4 a.m. and told me if I didn't engage in that action, he would give me the silent treatment, but if I did, he promised to touch and engage with me. I don't have screenshots or videos of everything as I lived with him and did not have my camera out at the ready. I will mention later in this talk about another incident with screenshots. It is not in this section due to it aligning with a text chain later. This section has 3 different screenshots, and the first screenshot is titled, I tried to take a shower. This is a conversation she had with Neuuish shortly after moving in with him back in 2021, telling him, can't even take a shower in my own home and you fucking pull my neck like that? Just because you don't want me to see you playing? That hurt, and no explanation at all. And then Neuuish says, get away from me. This dude's absolutely mental. The second screenshot is titled Coercion and Psychological, and it's Valsi specifying that this was her talking to herself in her private server. This was her diary. This entry specifically dates back to December 2021, and she said, at 4 a.m., carries me to our bed and makes me suck his his sausage. I saw her nudes in his recently deleted as well, so she's probably referencing the videos of housewife showering. Then she said, I confronted the girl and he made me delete the messages and called me crazy and a psycho. So when she would try to reach out to the minor, she'd be gaslit into thinking that she's crazy and a psycho, and when she tried to take a shower in her own room, she would get choked. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that he probably wouldn't take no as an answer when he wanted something from her, as evidenced from the first sentence in this diary entry. Just overall a very healthy relationship. The final screenshot in this section is titled Apology. This was a conversation that happened after they broke up, and it was Valsi saying, what about when it was all happening? To which Neuuish said, it's selfish. Valsi then says, what about my life then? And then Neuuish says, I was retarded, straight up brain damage. It will never happen again in my life. I've stopped talking to random girls. I've learned my lesson and I just want to live. I often can't fall asleep thinking about the shit that happened between us, but I can never go back in time. The best I could do is just only offer kindness to you for the rest of your life. I don't deserve a second chance, but please, blank, which is Valsi's real name. So it's clear, even after breaking up, she didn't really forgive him, and he claims to be a different person. How true is this? We'll find out eventually. But for now, congratulations, you made it to the final section of this document. Pat yourself on the back, because it's about to get real. We're back to December 2023, when the Reddit post was made calling Neuuish a pedophile, but lacked a lot of proof. But this didn't mean that Neuuish didn't panic his ass off. Here's what Valsi had to say. Around December 2023, after a prior friend of mine released their document on Neuuish via Reddit, it was poorly received due to the lack of actual evidence backing the document, as I did not want to be involved, making it easy for him to have plausible deniability when his friends would question him about it. Once that was released on Reddit, he started messaging and texting me about it. He was very casual with contacting me about it because he knew I did not want to be involved in this person's document due to my privacy and fear. And at this point, you already know the drill. There are multiple screenshots included in this section. The first image is an iMessage conversation between Valsi and Neuuish after the Reddit post had initially come out. Neuuish was saying how he was going to kill himself, and Valsi said, dude, there's no evidence out there. Blank has none. Blank was April, the person who had made this post. Then Neuuish said, this only evidence was literally you. He only used your DMs. I don't know what to say to August right now. In this case, August was someone on his pro team, and he was questioning him about it. Then Neuuish says, blank, which is Valsi's real name, our future conversation aren't gonna always be like this. I'm sorry, it's annoying as fuck. As you can see, the panic was starting to set in for Neuuish. The next image is actually one that was sent to Valsi by Neuuish. He was able to convince August that this was essentially a nothing burger, with August attaching one of the images included in that Reddit post. In it, you can see a conversation between April and Valsi, but Valsi's name is completely censored because she did not want to have any part in this, saying that housewife was blackmailing Neuuish. She has a thing for older people, she's done it to like 4 other guys. April saying that it's quite weird when you're underage, wow. And then Valsi replying with, yeah, she would purposely get with older guys and then blackmail them forever. That's actually kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, is she working for Chris Hansen or something? Like, is the end goal getting Neuuish into a house and Chris Hansen appearing and saying, have a seat? Like, what the hell is this? I think most likely what happened here was that this was the explanation that Neuuish gave to Valsi. telling her that the only reason he was even talking to her was to keep her happy because she has a reputation of exposing adults. So again, take this with a grain of salt. There's a reason this being attached to the initial Reddit post had a counterintuitive effect, and that's why Neuuish was able to convince August that he was innocent. And then the third image included in this was a conversation with Neuuish and Volsi, in which Neuuish was saying, I needed to defend myself in front of him and the team because we had finals that day, referencing his conversation with August. Volsi said, yeah, I get that, and Neuuish said, I'm not denying anything in my head, by the way, I'm 100% conscious. So again, zero deniability. He's always admitted the fact that this is all true in DMs with Volsi. So he had somehow extinguished the fire that was starting to brew in his pro team, but the real panic would start setting in when his content creator friends would message him asking what's going on. He was starting to understand that this had the potential to ruin his reputation forever. Volsi says, after the document was released, he bribed me with $5,000 to $10,000, in his own words, to lie to defend him in court. This provides further proof that yes, he did do most, if not everything that was said in the prior document, linking 3 images. The conversation starts off with Volsi saying, I'm trying to focus on my life now, to which Neuuish says, I'd pay you to defend me. Volsi then says, that wouldn't feel right, but, and then Neuuish responds with, that's horrible, I know. Volsi reiterates that he has no proof without involving me, no one. And by he, she means the person who made the Reddit post. And then Neuuish says, it's so important, he will involve you, he obviously doesn't care, he said he wouldn't do a lot of these and he keeps breaking them, like, 5K? Would you defend me? Like, please, just take money and let's just lie about me in court, just please. I know this is horrible, but it's literally my life. I'd rather lose a fuck ton of money than lose my life. He then continues, bro, you could make a tweet or something. I know you don't want to be in this drama, to which Volsi says nobody would see it, but then Neuuish continues, yes, they would. I would literally pay you $10,000. You would save my life and career. Blank, I know you don't want to lie, but this is literally my life and you're the only thing able to help. I'm sorry for being so pushy. To which Volsi says, saves your life? What about when all of this was happening? And this links back to a chain of messages we already went through in which he apologized for his past actions, saying that he's changed and is not talking to women anymore. Volsi then continues in her document saying, adding on to what I already posted, I have a bunch of screenshots showing how he bribed and manipulated me / took advantage of the fact that I didn't want to be a part of it, linking 5 screenshots. The first one was Neuuish linking the Reddit post made about him saying, I can't defend myself, I don't know what you told him exactly nor if you'll defend me, my life is in your balance, please Volsi, any reply, please. To which Volsi said, I don't know what you expect me to say, I'm not saying anything right now. And then Neuuish says, you never said if you deleted the DMs or not, sad face. Neuuish would continue to insist, I know it's a lot, but could you delete the DMs between you and him? And that's it. I think I can recover. I did what I did and I'll never repeat the same thing ever again. I just want to be peaceful. So he was desperately asking Volsi to delete any DMs she might have with April, worrying that those could be shared too, like the one in the initial Reddit post. In the next screenshot, Volsi's saying, that's what it was. I don't know, man. I don't want to be involved. I don't want drama. I've got my own shit to deal with. To which Neuuish says, you are involved. You're the only person I can speak to. My life is in the balance. Something that is going to take you maybe one day might save my whole life. To which Volsi replied with, what do you want me to do? Deny? And Neuuish said, maybe? I don't know. Like, I said that the pedo shit came from Luca. I can't defend myself or say anything because he has those. And he already told everyone everything. Like, you can still say something. You are the only hope for my entire career, my life, my girlfriend. I was able to find love. I just wanted to be peaceful. So at that point, he was in a new relationship. And Volsi replies with, what do you want me to say? I've already said what I could to try damage control. And then Neuuish said, I don't know what you told him being the person who made the Reddit post. To which Volsi said, no, yeah, I never sent him any like screenshots of things. Neuuish then said, if I took legal action, would you help out April? Or if he came to you for confirmation. So Neuuish was genuinely considering suing April, the person who had made the Reddit post. This is why later on he would ask Volsi if she would testify for him while willing to pay her $10,000 to lie to him and testify on his side. There were no limits to how shameless this guy was. Volsi said, I've already said to him I wouldn't want to be involved and he said he wouldn't involve me, so I don't know. To which Neuuish replied, yeah, so just zero involvement at all because I could go for legal action if he keeps going. And I guess in this case he wanted to sue April for defamation, but it's not defamation if it's true. Volsi continues in the document saying there's going to be a profile picture change in these images. This is due to these screenshots being taken as the conversation was happening, whereas the previous screenshots above were taken recently. These screenshots also allude to the abuse he inflicted on me and the grooming, linking 3 screenshots. The conversation starts with Neuuish saying, hey, could you tell me exactly what you told him so I know if I should just off myself? Sorry, I need you to go into detail, and this will be the last time this is brought up. So again, this is in reference to April's Reddit post. He really wanted to know what Valsi had told April and why this Reddit post came to be. Valsi replied with, I don't know, it was a long time ago, what's happening now? And then Neuuish said, I can't sleep every night because I'm overthinking, just try to remember, sorry again, I know you do not want to talk about this. Valsi then let it all out and said, I honestly can't tell you in detail because it was ages ago. Just the whole cheats on me, manipulates me to thinking you didn't. I remember we would try to Q-snipe you when you were playing with Blank, which is another girl's name who he cheated on her with. How old she was when you started talking to Housewife and that you still love her, etc, etc. So she pretty much vented to April about everything. And April understood that Valsi, who was their friend, was miserable as hell. Valsi then said, I need to go. And Neuuish said, sorry for all the yelling. This was in reference to something that had happened in the past. Valsi says, since we had a roommate at the time, he didn't want to shout at me around the house, so he would wait till we are in the car. This wasn't just one occasion, this is multiple. So then she said, Neuuish said, in the car, oh my god. Valsi said, it was more than yelling. To which Neuuish said, well, I never hit you. And then Valsi said, you choked me once. And Neuuish said, did I? To which Valsi replied, at blank, which was their address at the time, and she added some context saying he always had a bad memory at the time. But him not denying shows that he believed he was capable of doing that, because he replied with, huh? Valsi adding that she slammed his door, and Neuuish saying, I don't remember this. What? To which Valsi replies with, and then you apologized and said you didn't want to hurt me. I mean, obviously when you choke someone, especially your girlfriend, you wouldn't really forget. And this right here is a great example for one of the many things that could happen to you when you're dating a manipulator. They would do something very hurtful to you, like, I don't know, a few days before, you remind them, they're like, I didn't do that. The fuck? And then when you double down, they'll be like, well, maybe, but it wasn't as bad as you're remembering. I didn't choke you. I just tripped and fell on you, you know? So it's right here in the texts. The final screenshot is him saying, I didn't want to hurt you. Sorry if that actually choked you. I'm literally retarded. To which Valsi said, it was for a few seconds, but you did. And then he said, I'm not excusing my behavior. I shouldn't have put my hands on you like that. She says, yeah. And then he says, I didn't love Housewife. I don't know where that came from, but he just felt the need to say that. Valsi replied with, it felt like you did. We would go anywhere and you'd take pictures and send to her or you'd text her. To which she replied with, I was scared. Yeah, I always felt the need to stay on good terms with her. So even after breaking up and after being far away from each other, he still was using the same excuse. The only reason he was even talking to a minor saying that he loves her, keeping videos of her showering on his computer, was because he was scared of her. In preparation for this document that Valsi had written, April, the person who had made the Reddit post back in December 2023, had this to say about it. Hi, my name has been in some of the messages as April and I made the first document. During her time dating Neuuish, I was very close friends with her and hearing about the things he would do. At the time, I only had knowledge of the predatory acts and the cheating with the housewife girl. I would hear her cry about the things he was doing and I had nothing but disgust for him. I was working on the document at the time but had zero proof as she did not want to get involved at the time due to fear and wanting to remain anonymous. This was understandable, but I still felt the information was something that needed to be out there. The document at the time did fracture our friendship, but after a lengthy apology, she has reached out and asked for my assistance with the new document. So while they're not really close friends anymore, April and Valsi both wrote this document together. After that, Valsi links a video saying, here's video proof that these are real and not fabricated. Once clicked, it will download, but unfortunately, it's a Discord link that has expired, so when I click on it, it says this content is no longer available. But if I had to guess what it was, it's probably her just scrolling through the Discord messages showing that they're real and not edited. She ends the document saying, I have been hesitant to come forward about this because I did not want to deal with any possible backlash or threats and simply fear. I know this post might be met with some doubt, but to those who believe me fully, thank you. But here's the thing. This was already one hell of a roller coaster, but there's more. Even worse, okay, this is actually ridiculous. This one person replied to that document saying, he coaxed me into sending nudes of myself when I was uncomfortable and that he won't talk to me anymore if I didn't. He then dropped remarks saying I was too fat and alt, and that the heaviest he's ever dated was 55 kilograms, and that he was no longer interested. Guys, I wish this was an exaggeration, okay? These are messages between Neuuish and that person in question, Teleshka, and he said, I think you have an amazing personality, like really f***ing good, very caring, and saved money, educated, but looks also mean a lot. So this was him indirectly saying, after her sending her nudes, that, yeah, you know what, this isn't gonna work. So then she asked, what was it, may I ask? And then he links a gif saying, we do a little trolling, and says, I think mainly your weight. if you want me to be real again. To which she said, and then he replied with, I've only ever had people at 50 kilograms, 55 kilograms is the heaviest, I think. Well, Neuuish, when you target minors, I'm sure it's very easy to find people that are 50 kilograms, okay? Anyway, it gets better because this document was posted as he was streaming on Twitch and someone told him, yo, check Twitter. To which he eventually decided to end the stream outright after realizing what it was. Check this out. This was his reaction.
Check Twitter. Hey, back.
This was it. These were the final moments of Neuuish streaming. He has not streamed since then. He just immediately ended the stream. It's so stupid. The consequences were almost immediate. Romani, the captain of the team that Neuuish was in, said recently, myself and the team at MFC has seen this post. We do not support this behavior. We fully support the victims and we will be cutting ties with Neuuish. This time, he wasn't able to avoid getting kicked out of the team. People were making memes about him left and right. Quote tweeting a tweet of him from February 27th saying the Lucio in question with an image of him streaming the abuser in question. It wasn't all fun and games though. Shortly after the document came out, a person by the name of Reese had DM'd Neuuish saying, dude, what the fuck? To which Neuuish said, crazy as fuck. Reese then says, do you even have anything to say for yourself? To which he replied with, of course. And then Reese said, do you realize how many people looked up to you, bro? Then what, dude? Like, why? What the hell is wrong with you? To which Neuuish said he'll post on Twitter later about it. But his nonchalant attitude saying, oh yeah, man, it's crazy or whatever, just shows that he doesn't really care. Almost like he was taking this as a joke. But what wasn't a joke was the fact that he was platformed by some very big content creators. If it wasn't for those people, he would probably be completely unknown in the Overwatch streaming scene. As I mentioned before, one of them was Frogger. When he saw this document, he quote tweeted it and said, I am sick to my stomach. Please support the victims involved. I'm so sorry for platforming this guy. Aspen did the same, saying recently, individuals who wish to not be named came to me with info regarding Neuuish being a predator and awful person. I have so much regret for playing with / platforming someone who has taken advantage of women. I'm so sorry to the victims affected. I will be supporting you fully. But it wasn't so straightforward as that. You see, Aspen and Frogger, as well as other streamers who had platformed him, were getting blamed for this, with people like this user saying, sorry boss man, but when the entire Oceania community from circa 2018 to 2020 is on the timeline saying, yeah, we knew, then I struggle to believe you were the only person who somehow didn't. Or, you knew bro, don't act like you're shocked. So all of a sudden, the blame wasn't just being placed on Neuuish, some of it was also being placed on these streamers, and this is what they had to say on their streams when they were confronted about it by certain people in their chat. This is a video that compiles all the reactions from Overwatch streamers in regards to what happened with Neuuish, but I'm only going to show you the first two clips involving Aspen and Frogger so you understand he was a dangerous manipulator. Watch.
And it sucks because there is a lot being said that is just not true. That we knew, that we were trying to protect him. Oh, like obviously not. Like what? I'm sorry, that's just crazy. That is like actually crazy. That people would think we didn't know. We did not know. I mean, this is off topic, but I just want you guys to understand my character. As someone who's experienced very similar things with content creators when I was a minor and just men in general, I will always side with the victim. And I've never been brave enough to come out with my own stories. That's why I'm more than happy and always willing to amplify people who do have that bravery. So
to summarize it for people that just got here, Neuuish likes minors. He told me that the 15-year-old he was playing with was just a goated Mercy one trick, and people were just jealous because he was just good at Ash Mercy, and that's all good. You know, that's all fucking whatever. I believed it, right? No, that's not a good, that it's a good thing that, you know, whatever. I believed it was whatever, right? But, you know, I don't really want to talk about him anymore because, you know, it gives him a platform and all that sort of stuff. And I hope, I don't know. I mean, I want him to just fucking fuck off. You know what I mean? I was like, not even like wish him well or anything. Like, it's like, ugh. Like, I felt like I saw the stuff and I like wanted to throw up, you know what I mean?
So as you can see, according to both Aspen and Frogger, they were absolutely blindsided by this. With Frogger thinking that, oh, he was only playing with his 15-year-old because she's a very good Mercy player, and Aspen feeling completely betrayed. I think it's very safe to say that no other content creator in the Overwatch scene will ever want to really associate with him anymore. He essentially screwed up one of the best opportunities any content creator would ever ask for. This was it. Neuuish understood this was not going to be like 2023. This was actually over. He privated every single video on both of his YouTube channels, Neuuish and New TV. And then he finally made a response saying, "Please support the victims. Do not defend my actions or send harassment to them. I apologize to the people I've hurt and lied to. No one, including the content creators, knew this information. I lied to them when they came to me about it." Then replying to his own post saying, "I'll be stepping back permanently. I apologize to my fans and friends." So look, at this point, no doubt after reading the document from Valsi, some people could have said there wasn't enough proof. Some people could have doubted it, of course. But this was Neuuish right here admitting to everything, essentially. Saying that he purposefully lied to his friends, asking people to support the victims, and not defending himself in any way. He had essentially hammered the last nail in his coffin with his own hand, and would continue to drive that nail up his coffin more than he needs to. I mean, this dude was in his Discord chilling saying, "I personally think I wasn't the best boyfriend or friend, and I think I did mistreat her, but in no way was I admitting to anything." Like, dude, okay, let's chill. Let's take a step back. You literally admitted in your tweet that you lied and everything. Like what? Not even a couple of weeks had passed since his tweet, and he was already starting to backtrack in private. A day later, he deleted the second tweet in which he said, "I'll be stepping back permanently." This would only start getting worse, with him saying things like, "I never abused her," or saying things like, "Nah, Ivy and Reese are just tweaking." Reese being one of the people who DM'd him after this, with him saying, "Ah, yeah, it's crazy, I know." Adding, "No one will believe you if you just say I'm innocent." And then even worse, someone asked, "So New, are you guilty or are you denying it now?" And then he replied with 3 days. Someone else said, "Are we dead ass right now?" And he said, "We are dead ass. Give me a few more days." So everyone was sitting with bated breath, wondering what the pedophile was going to say in 3 days. How was he going to twist this? How was he going to try and manipulate everyone like he's manipulated them for years? Well, nothing. Nothing at all. He said he needed 3 days on March 18th, and it's been weeks since then. And people have already kind of forgotten about him. He has gone off the grid, not talking on his Discord server, not tweeting, not streaming, not uploading anything on YouTube. He's either truly given up, is planning one hell of a document, or just simply found another minor to play with on Overwatch. But I guess you're asking yourself the question, is this truly the end of Neuuish no matter what happens? Well, here's the thing. It is the end for him when it comes to participating in any Overwatch Pro event, collabing with any decent Overwatch content creator, and it will be impossible for him to recover his reputation no matter what he does. But this doesn't mean he can't just stream. He's not banned on Twitch. He will most likely be back, and he'll probably get donations and subs, and he'll still be able to continue making a living out of playing Overwatch. Getting canceled doesn't really mean much as long as you can still keep making content and get money for it. I mean, look at Dr. Disrespect. Just like Neuuish, he admitted to messaging inappropriate things to a minor, but YouTube remonetized him recently. He's making money. So this isn't as straightforward as some of you might want it to be. That means if he goes live in the future, after watching this video, you'll know not to be surprised. It's expected at this point. If you're a minor watching this video, stay away from him. Stay away from anyone older than you. Come on. And if you're an adult, don't end up like Neuuish. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Mwah.